Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. Moses ABOLADE, Executive Director and Peace Building Consultant at Peace Education and Practice Network. Now I'll be introducing you to the concept of peace. I know this is not the first time you're hearing the word peace. Peace is something that has become buzzwords among a lot of us, but today we'll be looking at it in a very professional lens. So, to you, what is peace? Is it just the absence of violence, chaos, or misunderstanding when people are not fighting, or when there is no concerns or issues? Is it when you have money? Is it when you have food on your table? Just like I introduced this concept in Peace Education for Secondary School Manual, I stated in that work that peace is defined by different people based on their reality. And in different parts of the world, peace is when people have food on the table, especially when you're dealing with adolescents or teenagers, when people are not fighting. Maybe father or mother, the parents are in one accord, they are not fighting. You and your neighbors are not fighting. But truth be told, peace goes beyond that. Peace goes beyond just the absence of violence, chaos, or misunderstanding. True peace is about creating positive conditions that allow all people to thrive and flourish in their communities. It encompasses the presence of justice, opportunity, and mutual respect, not merely the absence of conflict. For instance, currently as I speak with you, I have a neighbor, or sorry, my landlord for that matter, who is doing some work behind my window or beside my window, and they're talking and they're disturbing my video. And so, how do we compromise to ensure that it is fair to both parties? How do we ensure that we are able to manage despite the inconveniences happening? And how can we ensure that that works? So remember, in that definition, we discussed three major values: justice, security, and development, invariably. So justice is what we'll be discussing first, which is fairness. Peace means fairness and justice. One is treating people fairly at all times, which means that you look at it, is this person well considered in the affairs of whatever we're sharing? Is everybody treated equally? If somebody has paid for something, are they getting the benefit of what they pay for? If somebody have done something, are they getting reward? If there is a particular incident, are people engaged, um, getting the right restitution, or people that are being killed of, or people that have been victims of a particular situation have been treated? If you are treating perpetrators in a particular way, how are you treating the victims? Everybody who is responsible in a particular instance, how are you giving them what is due to them? Justice in this sense is giving what is due to people. Ensuring justice is given for everyone. The last thing is that building trust within communities. When people discover that they are treated fairly, I mean, when they discover that you put their interests, their needs, and their position forward, or you acknowledge their pain or their hurt, and you listen to them, definitely that will build trust within communities. That's what peace means under this pillar. Peace includes access to opportunities, which means that when it comes to access to values like education, when it comes to values like jobs, when it comes to values like serenity, calmness, security, hope for the future, you're saying that these people have access to those things. And that's some of the things peace means. When people cannot identify or have access to some level of comfort or development or food or something that we ensure that they are stable, then that is not peace. That might be tilting towards violence. Now, what is peace? According to Peace Education and Practice Network, PEPNET defines peace as a combination of positive peace and negative peace working together. Now, we understood from the work, or we understand from the work of Johan Gartung. Johan Gartung is a Norwegian scholar who discuss and describe and categorize peace properly to ensure that we see the broader views of peace. Now, PEPNET pick from that, PEPNET pick from other organizations and pick different references, ensuring that peace is not merely in the absence of conflict or violence, and not by just enforcing obedience or a particular action through force, which is the negative peace. We define peace to be the presence of justice. That is the initial one, which I describe as negative peace, which is the merely absence of conflict or violence. Now, plus the presence of justice, security, and development. Now, these did not end there. We define peace as it involves a transforming of attitudes, institutions, and structures to address the root causes and build societies that are inclusive, stable, and capable of sustaining long-term peace. Which means that if you're doing anything and you're not paying attention to the long-term situation, what will this look like? If we, for instance, if we are saying we want to reduce the impact of non-inclusive education or out-of-school children, any suggested solution must be considered for long term. You must look at it, what will happen in 20 years, this approach. If we use this fund that we just get from this source and to do this, will it be sustainable 20 years time or 30 years time to ensure that these children don't go back? And when they finish school, what will be the structures and the institutions in place for them not to waste that education and for them to use it for the good of all? So, as I said, we are trying to address the root causes of violence. What is the cause of this? And to get the root cause of violence, you need to ask several whys. Why has this happened? What are the situations so far? How is it going? I need to pay attention to the structures that make that root cause to be dealt with forever. It's just like a tree. When you're dealing with a tree, you must pay attention to the root. If not, you will come back to cut that tree again. So it's better for you to uproot the problem you're trying to deal with from the root and build your society or the situation in a way that it will be long-lasting. So peace as justice, security, and development. We use the acronym, or is it abbreviation now? GSD, which means peace can be understood as the integration of justice, security, and development. Just like I explained earlier, justice ensures fairness and dignity. Security provides safety and protection, and development creates opportunities and well-being, which is very important if you really want to change any society long-term, as we are more conflict transformation prone, conflict prevention prone, human security prone. It's important for us to put it together like this so that when you are not seeing justice in a space or you're not seeing security in a particular system or development, know that there is a particular problem. And that means that is a way to measure if there's a peace, if there is peace, or if there is violence in a place. And sometimes it might not be violence, it might be negative peace you're looking at. And you must pay attention to that. Understanding negative peace. So let's break it down. What is negative peace like? That is like there is absence of direct violence or war. Like currently in Nigeria or other places, you cannot say we have war, but you cannot also say that everything is peaceful, that people are experiencing justice, or people are experiencing security, that people can really sleep without thinking of kidnapping or banditry. People can't travel. You might not have that. You might not have direct war, but there might not be justice, so to say. People might not feel at peace with the sharing formula of their economic engagement and resources and all that. Stability in the society might be there. Currently, Nigeria seems stable. There are pockets of violence, but people are still doing whatever they want to do in net. So that give us negative peace. And if you, for instance, most people also perceive security in daily lives. So as I was saying the other time, negative peace is the absence of direct violence or war, security perception in daily life, stability in the society is important, that we know that this doesn't constitute to positive peace, which is the other one we'll be looking at. So sometimes this can also be seen as enforcing peace through force, which means when you see a civilian country or a civilian state or places that ought to be civilian being militarized, that means what you see there is people experiencing peace through force. And when you see peace through force, definitely that is negative peace. Now, understanding positive peace, things you should consider when you're looking at this is that there will be justice and equality for all people. And I've told a lot of people over time, peace is not as unity. You can't see the concept of unity as a primary focus of peace. When people consider a space to be just and there is equality, there is fairness, and the institutions are working, people themselves will become patriotic to form the united alliance to protect that state. And that is important. So positive peace presents justice as a major element. It presents quality for all people. So if there is positive peace, there will be justice, there will be equality for all people. People will not feel forced to be patriotic in such settings. When people perceive that they are considered, their interests, their pain, their hurt are being listened to and well taken care of, they will be interested, and that itself is positive peace. The sense of justice bring about positive peace. Well-functioning institutions that serve everyone. So when the education system, educational system, justice system, other systems work and serve the purpose they should serve. Like yesterday, I was seeing an interview on one of the Nigerian popular channels TV, one of Nigerian's television, where they're talking about civil service. And they were talking about how it was 10 years ago and how it has been now. While there might be improvement so far, there are still a lot of issues when it comes to ensuring that files and folders and the bureaucracy around those institutions are functional. There are still concerns around it. And that is the problem when these institutions or the three arm of government or other institutions of the state are not as effective as they should be. And when people speak against a system that is not working, the protection of those people, the way the system also protect whistleblowers and ensure that more people can speak truth to power, also quantify what is justice. And if there is no justice, there cannot be positive peace. Now, sustainable development and opportunities are important fraction of or element of positive peace. Now, if there's no development, if there's nothing growing, if there's nothing changing, if there's nothing sustainable, then it's a is a is a backward move for positive peace. Now let's discuss changing of attitudes. When I discuss the definition according to PEPNET, it doesn't just end as the absence of violence or war or the presence of justice, security, and development. We continue in that definition that it is the changing of attitudes, institutions, and structures. And this leads us to how peace can be seen as a transformation element or transformative element. Now, peace requires more than rules and agreement. It demands changing mindset and transforming social system from within. That means from an individual, you must be able to govern yourself, ensure that you have peace. And that leads to what we say from an individual perspective, that is what we call inner peace. You must be able to make the right decision that is more profiting for you, that is more rewarding, that will give you justice, security, and development at the end of the day. Now, most of the time, we're not born with this, even if we have some nature of ourselves that have the capacity to bring this out. It's something that requires intentional change of mindset in our attitudes, in our behavior, in our actions, so that we treat others fairly, we respect others when they are saying whatever they are saying. You listen to the other person when they are making an inquiry or saying anything, and you ensure that this translates into institutional change, which promotes fairness and inclusion at different levels. We also look at this from a structural point of view, which Joan Gattung, while describing violence, discuss direct and indirect violence. Then the third one was structural violence. Structural violence supports lasting security and development of all members of society. So when you have this sense of security in our structures, then it's going to build the capacity for us to have a transformed society at the end of the day. So let's look at some of the things we've discussed so far in summary. Building and sustaining peace. Peace is more than, the first thing there is that peace is more than the absence of violence. It includes positive conditions for thriving. Justice and fairness are central to building lasting peace in any community. Access to education, jobs, and opportunities matters for peaceful lives. And the last one there is that PEPNET combine positive and negative peace, requiring attitude and institutional change. And that is why if you see some of the works we're doing at Peace Education and Practice Network, we are focused more on attitude and institutional change to ensure that we have an overall conflict transformation in the long term. And in case you have any question around what I just shared, you can contact us on what is showing on your screen, and you can reach out and wait for response. We will surely get back to you. And if you're interested in being a member or a volunteer of Peace Education and Practice Network, you can also reach out. I want to say a big thank you for joining us on this journey towards understanding peace. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one. Bye for now.